On the university's parent occupation form, I wrote 2 words, scrap collector. The entire lecture hall erupted in laughter, but I didn't care. It was the best way to find someone who'd love me for me, not for my father's 9-figure recycling empire. On the first day of freshman orientation, as I filled out the student introduction form, I paused at the parent's occupation field. My pen hovered for a moment before I wrote in clear, bold letters, scrap collector. A wave of snickers rippled through the massive lecture hall. A few rows ahead, a guy with a bleach-blonde man bun turned around and mouthed, "Grew up in a garbage dump?" I just smiled. Let them laugh. This was all part of the plan my parents and I had devised. "Juliet," my dad had said, his voice serious for once, "out there, you're not the heiress to the largest scrap metal and recycling corporation on the East Coast. You're just a kid from a humble family. Find people who like you for your grit, not your gold." My thoughts were interrupted by a gentle voice. "Excuse me, miss." I looked up. A teaching assistant, handsome in a clean-cut academic way, was collecting the forms. His name tag read, Mark. He glanced at my paper and the warm spring breeze smile on his face froze solid. His eyes darted from the words, scrap collector, to my face and back again. Is your father unemployed?" he stammered, his voice cracking slightly. "Nope, he's a scrap collector," I said cheerfully. "Is there a problem?" No problem at all," he said, his face turning a blotchy red. He had been holding his phone, and I could have sworn he was about to ask for my number a second ago. Now he shoved it into his pocket so fast he nearly dropped it. Checking a message. I'll just, take this. I have to go." He turned to leave, moving so quickly he walked straight into the corner of a desk with a loud thump. "Hey, Mark," I called out. He spun around, keeping a safe, almost fearful distance. "You forgot your water bottle on the podium." He glanced at the sleek stainless steel bottle, then back at me, a look of profound internal conflict. No, it's fine. You can have it, if you want it." "Really? For me?" "Yes, keep it. It's all yours," he said, then practically fled the room. Ignoring the curious stares, I hopped onto the stage and grabbed the bottle. "Anyone else finished with their water bottles?" I called out to the room. "I'll take them." By the end of the orientation, I had a large trash bag filled with plastic bottles and aluminum cans. There's no shame in earning a buck. As I stood outside the lecture hall, stomping on the last bottle to flatten it, a tall, handsome guy, easily 6'2" with kind eyes and a jawline that could cut glass, approached me. "Do you need some help with that?" he asked, a hint of shyness in his voice. Before I could answer, he held out an empty plastic bottle. "Do you need this?" I looked from his perfectly symmetrical face to the bottle. "Yes, thank you so much," I said earnestly. "Do you have any more? The more the better." "Wait here," he said with a small smile. Less than 10 minutes later, he returned with a bag nearly as full as mine. He asked around my dorm floor, he explained. I took the bags to the campus recycling depot and exchanged them for $12. I almost cried with gratitude. "You're a lifesaver," I said, turning to him. He scratched the back of his neck, a faint blush creeping up his cheeks. "We're in the same orientation group. I was sitting behind you." Ah, so he'd heard my scrap collector declaration. I hadn't noticed him, too busy playing the part of the campus pauper. "Let me buy you an ice cream to say thanks," I offered. "There's a cheap stand by the quad. Frosties, best soft serve for $1.50. We sat under the shade of a large oak tree, each with a vanilla cone. He hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Hey, can I get your number?" My mind raced. Was he just being friendly, or was this a move? Seeing my hesitation, he rushed to explain. "I'm Liam, by the way. Liam Anderson." Liam Anderson. The name rang a bell. He was a top-ranked student in our incoming class, the one with the perfect SAT score, student ID number ending in 001. My eyes widened as I looked from his face to the cheap ice cream cone in his hand. "You're not bothered that my family collects junk for a living?" I asked, testing the waters. He let out a soft, genuine laugh. No, not at all. Then he seemed to relax, a wave of relief washing over his face as he confessed. To be honest, my family situation isn't much better. My dad's a miner. He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture of a man in a hat, his face smudged with dirt, standing at the entrance of a dark, cavernous tunnel. I pictured Liam's father descending into the earth each day, and a wave of genuine sympathy washed over me. "Wow," I said softly, "your family has it tough too." In that moment, I felt a profound sense of relief. I had found him, an ally, a fellow soldier in the trenches of feigned poverty. I wouldn't have to endure any more pitying looks or shocked whispers. I had found someone who understood. Of course, what I'd really found was a co-conspirator for my grand performance. The truth is, scrap collecting is incredibly hard work, but it's shockingly profitable. It was the seed money from which my parents built their first recycling plant, then a chain of them, and then branched into real estate. My family now owns 9 major recycling facilities with an annual profit in the tens of millions of dollars. My parents always taught me that the first dollar is the hardest to earn, and you have to be proactive. I took their lesson to heart, deciding to start my own journey from the ground up, just like they did. Besides, being a rich kid starting from scratch had a certain romantic appeal, even if it meant getting my hands dirty. My new poverty had immediate social consequences. Word spread across campus like wildfire. The same guys who had practically fought over carrying my luggage on move-in day now avoided my gaze. My phone, which had previously buzzed with messages and DMs like an 8 a.m. alarm clock, fell into a state of profound silence. I was delighted. Finally, I could sleep in without being harassed by guys who were only interested in my perceived bank account. The only exception was Liam. Our shared struggle made us inseparable. He didn't look down on me. Instead, he worked just as hard. I'd see photos of him on his social media, his brow glistening with sweat as he passed out flyers for a local pizza place, and my heart would do a little flip. Imagine bringing home a guy this handsome, hardworking, and humble, I think. My parents would praise me for my excellent judgment. My daydreams were shattered by my roommate, Tiffany, who peered over my shoulder at my phone. "Still dreaming?" she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Don't you know the senior, Laura Vance, is after him? Her father owns a chain of hotels." Then she tossed a package on my desk. "By the way, the $9 floor mirror we all pitched in on Amazon just arrived. Are you coming to get it?" Right, I was supposed to be poor. With a sigh, I put my phone away and followed her and our other roommates, Tanya and Jessica, to the mailroom. On the way back, we passed the dormitory's waste disposal area. Everyone else pinched their noses and hurried past. My eyes lit up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So many discarded shipping boxes. I could probably get a decent amount for all that cardboard. From then on, that route became my daily pilgrimage. But my joy was short-lived. One afternoon, as I was gathering a particularly nice stack of boxes, an elderly woman grabbed my arm, yanking the cardboard away. "What do you think you're doing?" she squawked, her voice thick with a heavy local accent. "This is mine. Get lost." She gave me a surprisingly strong shove, and I stumbled backward, nearly falling.
"Hey!" A hand steadied me. It was Liam. He helped me up, brushing dust off my jeans. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I murmured. He turned to the old woman. "Ma'am, my friend found these first." "Found what?" the woman snapped. "This is my territory. A young girl like you, stealing work from an old woman? Shame on you. Don't let me see you here again." "Liam, let it go," I said, pulling on his arm as he started to argue. "But she just—" "It's okay," I said with a smile. "She can have the boxes. It's just cardboard." As we walked away, I saw the gears turning in his head, the injustice burning in his eyes. He didn't understand. "What do you mean it's okay?" he asked, confused. She was completely out of line. "That's where you're wrong," I said, a grin spreading across my face. "I think she just handed me a golden opportunity." Liam's brow furrowed. "What are you talking about?" Scrap is infinite, but a business is different, I explained, my father's words echoing in my mind. The fact that she could so brazenly claim this territory means there's no formal system in place. There's no one managing this space. If she's going to be the final link in the chain, then I'm going to build the rest of the system around her. Liam's eyes widened in understanding. You're going to become the middleman. I snapped my fingers. Exactly, and I have an idea. You want in? Life, however, wasn't just about business plans. My role as the poor girl was about to face its biggest challenge. One afternoon, I returned to my dorm to find Tiffany, Tanya, and Jessica staring at me, whispering furiously. It had to be her, Tanya hissed. Tiffany stepped forward, holding an empty jewelry box. Juliet, where is my gold necklace? Did you steal it? I blinked. I vaguely remembered Tiffany bragging weeks ago about a new butterfly necklace she bought after her dad closed a big business deal. Your family is so poor you have to sell bottles to survive. You probably stole it to sell it for cash. I almost laughed out loud. Steal her necklace? It was probably worth a few $100s tops. The tenant security deposit sitting in my personal bank account totaled over $60,000. But I had to play my part. You guys searched my things? I asked, my voice turning cold. We saw a jewelry box in your closet. We thought we'd check. That box contained gifts from my parents, Chanel earrings, a diamond pendant, things I never wore to maintain my cover. The fact that they had gone through my private belongings was the last straw. My face hardened. Fine. You want to see what's in the box? We'll look. But if my name is cleared, you will all formally apologize. If not, we're calling campus security and filing a report. I opened the box, revealing the glittering contents. Of course, Tiffany's necklace wasn't there. Who knows if you've already hidden it somewhere else, Tanya sneered. Tiffany stepped forward, putting on a show of magnanimity. You know what? Forget it. It was just the necklace. I'll consider it a gift to you, Juliet. How generous of you, I said, my voice flat. I held up my phone. But I've already called security. Theft of property valued over $250 is a misdemeanor. I believe your necklace qualifies. The room went silent. Tiffany's face went completely pale. I already told you to forget it. I didn't, I said calmly, and I'm pressing charges for the false accusation. When the campus police officer arrived, the necklace was quickly found. It had gotten tangled in the lining of Tiffany's own winter coat, which she hadn't bothered to put away properly. The officer gave her a stern warning about making false reports. Humiliated, Tiffany was forced to apologize. The next day, she quietly moved out of the dorm. A week after Tiffany's dramatic departure, I walked into my dorm room to find her former friends, Tanya and Jessica, getting ready to go out. My other roommate, a quiet girl named Maria, was also there. Oh, Juliet, Tanya said, her tone a mix of awkwardness and pity. Maria and I are going out with some friends for my birthday. We're going to that new Heidi Lau hot pot place, Jessica chimed in, applying a thick layer of lip gloss. A single meal there without any discounts can cost over $100 per person. We didn't want you to feel pressured to treat us later. Right, Maria added, though she had the decency to look uncomfortable. We know your parents work so hard. It's important to be frugal. We'll invite you to free activities next time. I just nodded, watching them go. The silence they left behind was heavy. I knew I shouldn't let it get to me. This was the whole point of my poverty experiment. I was filtering out the superficial people, but still, the loneliness stung. Rich people problems, I thought wryly. I flopped on my bed and, intending to text my best friend from back home, sent a single pathetic-looking crying emoji. A second later, my phone buzzed. It wasn't my friend. It was Liam.
What's wrong? You want to get something to eat? I had sent the emoji to him by mistake. His chat was right below my friend's, and he'd been texting me so much lately it had risen to the top. I quickly deleted the message, but it was too late. My phone started ringing. It was him. I'm downstairs, his voice said, warm and concerned. Let's go eat. Oh, you don't have to, I started to protest. But as I glanced out the window, I saw him standing there under streetlight, leaning against his old bicycle with an effortless cool. I was speechless. Something compelled me to go downstairs. When he saw me, his face broke into a radiant smile. He handed me a cup of bubble tea. 4 Seasons Oolong from the tea spot, he said. Less ice, 50% sugar, your favorite. My heart skipped a beat. How did he remember that from one offhand comment I'd made weeks ago? I just got paid for my tutoring gig. How about we go grab a bite? Liam, that's really nice, but please, he asked, his eyes soft and pleading. There's a new Szechuan hot pot place that just opened on East 4th Street. They have a deal, buy one, get one half price. My roommate can't handle spicy food. Please come with me, just this once. The way he looked at me, a mix of hope and vulnerability, how could I say no? Okay, I heard myself say, my own voice sounding distant. In that moment, a single insane thought flashed through my mind. Forget the plan. I'm taking over one of Dad's companies and opening a hot pot restaurant right now. The charade is over. Thankfully, the mantra my parents had drilled into me kicked in just in time. 7-figure security deposit account. 7-figure security deposit account. I squeezed my fists, silently repeating the words. What was that? Liam asked, tilting his head. Oh, nothing, I said, forcing a laugh. Just wondering if we're there yet. The restaurant was packed, but Liam led me straight to a waiting table. I called ahead, he mumbled. It's a popular spot. We settled in, the air thick with the mouth-watering aroma of chili and Szechuan peppercorns. As I scanned the menu, he asked, any allergies? Anything you don't like? More lotus root, please, and no star anise in the broth, I answered, automatically, the way I would to my family's private chef. I caught myself a second too late. Across from me, Liam just nodded, seemingly unfazed. Got it, he said, marking up the order sheet before adding a few more items. Do you want cilantro? Yes, I said, my eyes lighting up. I didn't even see that on here. He smiled faintly. It's on the last line, a bit hard to spot. As we waited for the food, he asked again, his voice gentle. So, what really happened today? The fragrant steam from the simmering pot seemed to loosen my tongue, and I found myself telling him the whole story about my roommates. It's really not a big deal, I concluded, trying to sound nonchalant. He didn't say anything, but just quietly reached across the table and placed a perfectly cooked quail egg in my bowl. I get it, he said, his brow furrowed with a seriousness that made me want to laugh. Hey, I'm not upset anymore, I assured him. Seriously. Thank you, though. Mom? Mom? Liam looked up, his eyes white with shock. Crap. My brain-to-mouth filter had officially broken. Man, I meant thanks, man, I quickly said, piling a heap of noodles and beef onto his plate. Nothing, you heard wrong. Eat, eat. From that day on, something shifted. I realized Liam and I were incredibly compatible. Our tastes, our views on life, we aligned on almost everything. Most importantly, I loved money like my life depended on it, and he saw earning it as a noble quest. How could a person be so perfect? I'd scrolled through our message history, rolling around on my bed like an ecstatic worm. I wanted to be in a relationship. I wanted this relationship. Just as I was trying to talk myself down from making a bold move, a message from Liam popped up. Liam, let's have dinner tonight. It was followed by an address, the Rooftop Garden, 5 Elements Hotel, downtown. I nearly dropped my phone. I Googled the place. It was one of the most exclusive, expensive restaurants in the city. Me, did you win the lottery? Why so fancy? Liam, you'll see when you get here. Smiley face. Hesitantly, I agreed. When I stepped out onto the rooftop, the world went dark. Then, one by one, fairy lights blinked on, illuminating a path of rose petals leading to the center of the terrace. There, surrounded by candles, stood Liam, holding a bouquet of flowers. Juliet, he said, his voice shaking slightly, as he walked toward me. Will you be my girlfriend? I promise I'll work hard, I'll earn as much as I can, and I'll give you the best life possible. My brain short-circuited. Question. Your supposedly poor crush suddenly spends a fortune to confess his feelings at a 5-star restaurant. What do you do? Answer. Stand there, completely frozen, while your mind exits the building. So, is that a yes? he asked, his voice laced with anxiety. Yes, I finally managed to say, my own voice a whisper. Yes, but how did you afford all this? You didn't sell a kidney, did you? He laughed, a sound of pure relief, and pulled out his phone. He showed me a screenshot of a bank transfer. He'd won first place in a university-sponsored software development competition. The prize was a $10,000 grant. Oh, I breathed, a wave of relief washing over me. Okay, that's good. I smiled, my heart soaring. We were finally official, and my boyfriend, through his own brilliant mind, was no longer quite so poor. Dating was wonderful. Dating a genius was even better. Liam was my perfect partner in crime. We studied together, aced our exams, and plotted our financial domination of the campus. My scrap collecting revenue soared, and our joint recycling initiative project was approved by the university with flying colors. Liam was my lucky charm. One sunny afternoon, I ran to the outdoor basketball courts, my heart pounding with excitement. Liam, I called out, I have a $100,000 idea. You in? He paused his game, jogging over with a grin. I took the cool, damp towel he offered me and wiped my face. Our campus sustainability project got approved for the next stage of funding, I explained, barely able to contain myself. The faculty advisor thinks we can scale it up. I'm talking a full-fledged campus circular economy app. He handed me a bottle of water. I took a long swig. I'm envisioning a unified platform for the entire university. Modules for scrap collection scheduling, a student-to-student exchange for used textbooks and furniture, even an auction feature for graduating seniors to sell their stuff. It's green, it's efficient, and it's profitable. You're the tech genius. Can you build the app? Of course, Liam said instantly, his eyes fixed on me. He seemed a little dazed. Great. I'll handle the business plan in UI/UX design. You build the back-end infrastructure. Deal. For dinner tonight, I'm thinking spicy lobster. Deal, he said, still staring. Deal with what? I asked, snapping my fingers in front of his face. He blinked, finally coming back to earth. I poked him in the forehead. Liam, were you even listening to me? You're allergic to shellfish, and you just agreed to eat lobster. His cheeks flushed. Oh, right. Honestly, I sighed, trying to hide a smile. If I told you I wanted a giant ostrich egg right now, you'd probably agree to that too. He reached out and took my hand, his expression turning serious. A giant ostrich egg. I'll work hard and earn the money to buy you one. Oh my God, I'm trying to be serious, I said, pulling my hand away as my own face grew hot. I'm taking all of that as a yes to the business plan. Of course, he said with a soft smile. You're my girlfriend. I was doomed. Utterly and completely doomed. How had I never realized how incredibly smooth he could be? Our sweet, studious romance continued through the semester, a perfect bubble of happiness until the hellscape known as final exams. Why do we need to know the tensile strength of concrete mixed with tomato sauce? I groaned, burying my face in my textbook. Liam just laughed, patting my back. It's over now. Don't worry about it. What if I failed? I wailed. You didn't, he said confidently. I calculated your probable score based on the questions you said you were sure about. I just stared at him. Right, superhuman memory. Anyway, it's done, he said, checking his phone. The class president is organizing a karaoke night to celebrate. You want to go? Yes, absolutely, I said, needing to blow off some steam. 10 minutes later, I was standing in front of a building with a massive, glittering sign, Juliet's Palace. A terrible, sinking feeling washed over me. My English name is Juliet. This karaoke lounge, if my memory served me correctly, was owned by my family. My dad, in a fit of rich guy whimsy, saw how popular karaoke bars were and decided to open one for fun. He insisted on naming it after his only daughter. When it turned out to be wildly profitable, he opened a whole chain. I quickly pulled my hoodie up and zipped my jacket to my chin, muttering to myself, "Don't see me, don't recognize me, please don't recognize me." "Welcome, please, this way." The general manager, a man I'd known since I was a child, popped his head out. The moment he saw me, his face lit up. "Miss Juliet!" I stomped hard on his foot. "Shut up!" I hissed through clenched teeth before making a mad dash for the women's restroom. I fired off a series of frantic
Me to Dad. Did you send Mr. Chen here? Dad, I was just worried about you. Those other karaoke places near campus might not be safe. I wanted you to have a respectable place to take your friends. Me. Why didn't you tell me? Mom. Because he was afraid you'd get mad. He's been hiding it for 3 months, like a kid who stole cookies. See? I told you she'd find out and yell at you. Me. I'm begging you. I can handle this. Tell Mr. Chen to act normal and not blow my cover. I took a deep breath, pulled my hood down tighter, and walked out to join my class. The karaoke party was stressful. While the class president was drunkenly screaming Bon Jovi on stage, I was in a corner, furiously texting. No freebies, no comped rooms, and stop sending in fruit platters. This is the 4th one. Mr. Chen. Understood, Miss Juliet. This is the last watermelon platter, I promise. A moment later, another text. Is that young man next to you your boyfriend? He's very handsome. Me. Stop. Don't ask. Don't tell my parents. Get out. I spent the whole night on edge, terrified Liam would get suspicious or Mr. Chen would accidentally reveal my secret life. When I finally relaxed, I realized Liam was gone. Where's Liam? I asked the person next to me. Before they could answer, Victor, the smarmy class vice president, sidled up to me. He glanced around, saw Liam wasn't there, and leaned in close. Juliet, he slurred, stop collecting cans. Come be with me. I recoiled. What the hell are you doing? I like you, he said, holding up 3 fingers. I'll give you this much every month. Ditch that loser Liam. I'll take care of you. 300? I asked, confused. 3,000, he said proudly. Better than digging through trash cans, right? I almost gagged. 3,000 a month? The cleaning lady who managed one of my family's rental properties made more than that. I was about to unleash a verbal tirade when a hand clamped down on Victor's wrist. It was Liam. His voice was ice. What do you think you're doing? Ow! Ow! Let go, man! Victor yelled. Liam didn't let go. He tightened his grip, his knuckles white, and drew back his other fist. Liam, stop! I yelled. He froze, looking at me with disbelief. He's not worth it. I turned my cold gaze on Victor. I have a boyfriend, and for the record, this is harassment, and I've already started a voice recording. Victor paled and scrambled away. Outside, walking back to the dorms, Liam was quiet and sullen. Why did you stop me? He finally asked. He was harassing you. You're too kind, Juliet. You let people walk all over you, he murmured, his eyes full of genuine worry. Maybe you should come home with me. I can hire bodyguards for you. I burst out laughing. What are you talking about? I'm not kind, I'm pragmatic. Wasting my time on a loser like him is inefficient. I held up my phone. Besides, I have all the evidence I need for a formal complaint to the university dean. My friend is a law major, remember? Liam stared at me for a long moment, then buried his face in my shoulder, his voice muffled. I'm your boyfriend. I should have been the one to protect you. Next time, I have to punch him. Okay, tough guy, I said, patting his head. Next time. Now let's go. We have an 8 a.m. class.
Time flew by in a blur of late-night study sessions, successful app updates, and shared dreams. Before we knew it, 4 years had passed. Our campus app was a massive success, even winning a national award for student innovation. And thanks to my various side hustles and savvy investments, I had officially earned my first $1 million all on my own. Now, it was graduation day, the day I'd been waiting for. It was time to drop the act, reveal my true self, and drag my hardworking, brilliant, and wonderfully humble boyfriend home to meet the family. As my husband. On the morning of the ceremony, I finally opened the vault where I'd kept my true wardrobe. I slipped into a designer dress, put on a pair of sunglasses worth more than a used car, and for the first time in 4 years, took the key to my Porsche Panamera. I'd arranged to meet Liam at noon in the campus parking lot after the ceremony. To ease the shock, I suggested we had one last poor student meal at the cheap dumpling stand by the gate, a nostalgic, fitting end to our era of deception.
I pulled into the parking lot, the engine purring. In my passenger seat were 3 crimson folders, each containing the deed to a prime real estate. This was my proposal. I'd slide him into the passenger seat, make him my man officially, and whisk him away to a life of unimaginable luxury. Just as I was savoring the moment, a deafening roar filled the air. A cherry-red Ferrari screamed into the lot and parked a few spaces down. The scissor door swung upward, and a pair of long, familiar legs stepped out onto the pavement. It was my sweet, frugal boyfriend of 4 years, Liam Anderson. What happened to my poor, brilliant scholar? My mind went blank. My phone buzzed. Liam, hey, I'm here. Where are you? I lowered my sunglasses and slammed the 3 real estate deeds onto the dashboard, catching his eye. 4 years of unspoken truths hung in the air between the Porsche and the Ferrari. We stared at each other, both completely frozen. I was the first to break the silence, my voice a furious squeak. You fraud, I yelled, pointing a trembling finger. Where is the gentle, hard-working, poor student I've loved for 4 years? Liam leaned against his supercar, clutching a ridiculously large diamond ring box so tightly his knuckles were white. And where's the strong, independent, down-to-earth junkyard girl I fell in love with? He shot back. I was speechless. You said your dad was a miner. He is a miner. Does it matter that he mines for sapphires in Myanmar and diamonds in Russia? You showed me a picture of him covered in dirt. He was doing a routine site inspection. I felt my world tilt on his axis. Okay, fine. Then what about me? You said your family collected scrap. We do, I yelled back defensively. We just do it on a slightly larger scale, with 9 processing plants and a fleet of trucks. What else are you hiding? He demanded. That Szechuan hot pot place we love? My family owns the chain, I confessed. Juliet's Palace Karaoke Lounge is mine, he countered. I took off my sunglasses, my head spinning. Is there anything else? I demanded. Full disclosure, right now. He didn't say a word. He just walked over and handed me a thick envelope. I opened it. It was a deed transfer for a diamond mine in Russia. In my name. Speechless, I grabbed my 3 crimson folders and shoved them into his chest. Yours. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother. A second later, Liam's phone rang too. An unknown number. He answered. Honey, where's my new son-in-law? My mother chirped. Son, where is your future wife? A regal-sounding woman's voice echoed from Liam's phone. We both paled. They're here, we mouthed to each other in panic. Quick, hide your Patek Philippe, I hissed. You hide your Chanel bag. They're at the front gate. Without another word, Liam ripped the $70,000 watch from his wrist and tossed it into a nearby trash can. I shoved my handbag under the driver's seat. 15 minutes later, 6 fabulously dressed people were sitting on tiny plastic stools at a roadside stall, awkwardly slurping dumplings. So, my father said, breaking the suffocating silence, does anyone want to explain? I didn't know.
I didn't know she didn't know, Liam added, trying to salvage the situation. His father, a man with a kind face that mirrored Liam's, cleared his throat. Perhaps we should move this discussion to a more comfortable location. As Liam's family made a reservation, my mother cornered me. "That's the poor boy you told me about?" she whispered fiercely. "His mother is wearing the limited edition Chanel jacket that I couldn't even get my hands on." "Mom, I can explain," I whimpered.
Half an hour later, in a private dining room at the city's most exclusive rooftop restaurant, the whole chaotic story came out. Two super-rich heirs, each pretending to be poor to find true love, had somehow found and fallen for each other. "So all those dates at KFC for 4 years?" Liam's mother asked, looking horrified. "Only on very special occasions," I muttered. My mother looked like she was about to cry. "I kept wondering why you never used the new handbag I bought you, darling." Liam stood up, holding a glass of wine, and bowed deeply to my parents. "Sir, ma'am, I apologize for the deception, but my feelings for Juliet have always been real. I hope you can give us your blessing." I immediately stood up and did the same for his parents, professing my undying love. While my mother mourned the loss of her live-in son-in-law and his mother lamented the multi-million-dollar house she'd bought for us that we'd never used, our father started laughing. "Well, they certainly can't break up over being too rich," my dad chuckled. "Of course not," we both exclaimed in unison. The adults all laughed, the tension finally broken. "Let the kids handle their own affairs," Liam's father declared. With that, they stuffed their respective gifts into our hands and made a swift exit, leaving us alone. I looked down at the deed for the diamond mine. Liam was staring at a folder containing a deed for an entire skyscraper in the financial district. "This building is now your responsibility," I said, recovering first. "It's a gift from your future mother-in-law. You have to take it." "This mine is now your problem," he countered, just as stubbornly. "It's yours. 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 That's it. I'm going back to the parking lot to get your watch from the trash," I declared, turning to leave. "Juliet, you tricked me," Liam called after me, a grin finally breaking across his face. I spun around, a smile tugging at my own lips. "Oh, I'm not done with you yet, Mr. Anderson." He walked over and wrapped his arms around me, the diamond ring box and property deeds still clutched in our hands. We were a mess, a pair of liars, and completely, hopelessly, and ridiculously in love.